pedal. Yeah! The only problem is, to maintain this speed, I have to keep my foot pressed hard down on what feels like a very, very heavy clutch pedal. And the pain in my thigh is excruciating. The only way around this is to change into top gear. Now, to do that, we have to go faster. Push this lever, the handbrake, that isn't a handbrake, all the way down. Then I can take my foot off that pedal.
Now the speed shoots up, whether you like it or not, to about 40. And 40 on wooden wheels in a world with hardly any roads is terrifying.
Jeremy and I were beginning to believe we'd never find the first car with what we'd now call conventional controls. But then we stumbled on this. The Cadillac Type 53 from 1916. Look! A handbrake and a gear lever in the middle of the car and 3 pedals in the right order.
And better still, no starting handle, no broken rests. This was the first car to come with one of these.
This may look as old-fashioned as all the other nonsense from the early days of motoring, but what we have here is the nub, the first properly modern car.
The thing is that nobody knew when this came along that they had actually hit on what would become the template for all cars in the future.
Exactly. This bright idea could easily have been snuffed out by the next bright idea.
No, but what made this bright idea stick was that a British chap called Herbert Austin, who I'm sure you know came along, copied all the ideas and put them on his car for the people, which was, of course,
The Seven.
the Seven, exactly.
This car cost just £125, 4 times less than the Cadillac. What's more, it was built under licence by BMW in Germany and copied too by Datsun in Japan. This car then, the little Austin 7, took Cadillac's bright idea, showed it to the world and made it stick.
Tony Mason there. No, thanks. Really, thanks, lads, for wasting 9 minutes of my life.
No, I'll tell you something else really interesting.
Not
about
with
this
a
whole...
kitchen knife sticking through your neck, you won't.
No, seriously, during the war, what happened...
No, not James May on the war, please. Isn't it time you put a star in our reasonably priced car?
It is time we put a star in the reasonably priced car. My guest tonight once sang about a semi by the sea, and funnily enough, James May once had a similar experience when a dreadnought sailed by. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, James Blunt! Yes. How are you?
I'm very well.
So it's taken 2 years to get here.
Thank you.
Have a seat. Excellent. I'm honoured that you should come down, and thank you for that.
Well, thanks. It's been a nice day out.
Good, good. Because you're the first guest we've ever had who can drive a tank.
Yeah, I think you'll see in a minute that I can't drive a car, though.
Yes, but you see, your problem is your car history is rubbish. I mean, we sometimes have guests on who have just had appalling car histories, but yours, I think you've only owned, is it 1 car?
I have, I'm afraid to say, on this programme of all programmes, I owned a Lada Riva. And I haven't finished, actually. It was a Lada Riva SL, 1300 SLs for slightly luxurious. And it was racing red or Ferrari red, whichever you guys choose.
They weren't bad cars, those Lada Rivas.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it did have bucket seats, and I installed an enormous great stereo in it, which sadly was nicked one day, which I think is actually probably even more embarrassing than owning the Lada was to nick the stereo.
And why have you never replaced it with another car? Because presumably you can afford one now.
Because I owned a motorbike after that, Jeremy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a Motor Guzzi.
I didn't know you were homosexual.
Yes, absolutely. Most of my songs are about you.
Oh, God, no. I've got all kinds of lyrics going through my head now.
Which bit of the army were you in?
I was in the Lifeguards, which is part of the Household Cavalry, so reconnaissance, and that's why we had very small tanks.
Or were they, like, diet tanks?
Yeah, a scimitar. So a main battle tank's about 77 tons, and mine was about 4 tons.
Did you see, in the paper on Wednesday, they're talking about now the EU is saying that there's got to be emissions legislation for military vehicles. Did you see that?
I have heard about this, yeah. We're
We're
going green in the army.
But how can you worry about what the pipe at the back when the pipe at the front is... There's depleted uranium coming out of that one. Yeah, I know, but look.
We're just trying to make war a little bit safer, I think.
Yeah. It's a good job, really, you aren't in the army now, I have to say that.
Yeah, it's a pretty miserable time, I think, to be in the army. They're working incredibly hard, doing a really tough job, and not under great circumstances.
No, I mean, yes, because you know the covenant that's supposed to exist between us and them.
Yeah.
Everything, it's gone. Because I was talking to one the other day, a chap called Mark, who had his leg blown off in Iraq. And he came back, and all we gave him was MRSA.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I don't think that's really fair.
No, I know you're a patron for Help for Heroes as well.
Yeah, I know you are too.
I do the same thing, and it's really just because there aren't many funds really for the army, and particularly for equipment, but more so, even more important, for those who get injured and maimed when they come back.
Now, you were in the army skiing team, so that's cavalry skiing team.
Yeah, so they sent me skiing for about 3 months every single year. That's not all fun.
No, it's hard work. And didn't they name a chairlift after you in Verbier?
I had a chairlift named after me, yeah.
Because you spent so much time?
I had to, crack a bottle of champagne on it and say, I named this chairlift James Blunt, God bless her and all who ride me.
But you did actually have to go into Kosovo, didn't you? I mean, it wasn't all...
Yeah, in '99, during the war, the bombing campaign and the peacekeeping afterwards.
Was it very horrible?
Yeah, war's a pretty miserable place, actually, and so was the Albanians, Kosovo Albanians and the Serbs murdering each other.
Because were you the first in?
Across the border, yeah, and the first one to Pristina with my troop of soldiers.
Really?
Yeah.
The very first one in?